Welcome to Chapter 8 of Generation 0 of the McFluff story. And this will be the final chapter in Generation 0. Next chapter will be on Generation 1. Now here's Gertie. She's eco-friendly, dislikes children, frugal, eccentric cat person. And she wants to be the cat herder and befriend 15 cats. And she has a household containing 15 cats. Currently she's got 5 sculptors living with her, and they've been there for a few episodes, sculpting and experimenting with ice sculptures and pretty lights. That's Marge Murray. Marge is one of the sculptors, and the butterflies she's catching are just behind the lot that they live on. And they're on the side of a hill, so it's not easy to get a picture of a sim catching butterflies. It's very hilly in Hidden Springs. Gertie's at the festival grounds. She's been there digging with her digger, and now she's got a hole to fill in. We saw her digging there in the last episode, and there's Oscar from Oscar and Louise. He lives on his own at the moment. He hasn't met up with his Louise yet. Now I'll get Gertie to go and pick some wildflowers. We'll just see what Oscar gets up to as well. I've got no control over Oscar. He is a townie in this game because I put him in there as a townie just in case we bumped into him occasionally. Looks like he's thought about something he wants to do. So there's Gertie picking wildflowers. Picking flowers, or wildflowers, is very good for them when they want to earn some money, if they're short of cash. This little household isn't particularly short of cash at the moment because sculpting is very lucrative once you get into it and your sculptors are good at sculpting. There's Oscar. He's joined a food eating competition with a few of the locals from Hidden Springs. Because Oscar and Louise, their story is based in Hidden Springs as well. So that's why I included Oscar as a townie. And I've put Gertie and her cats into the Oscar and Louise story as a townie in the same house that she's got in this story. Just so they pop up in each other's videos occasionally. It's quite random if it happens or not. I have no control over it and don't try to control it. But I do notice them if they're there, if I spot them. Sometimes with Gertie, because she's got 15 cats living with her, so sometimes it's just one of her cats that pop up in the Oscar and Louise story. Looks like Gertie needs a bath. She looks quite smelly. I'll send her home when she picks this last flower. Take a last look at this food eating competition. And there goes Gertie heading off home. Now there's something happening with the sculptors back at home. June has been sleeping and she just decided to make a bed for some reason. Something's up, and I'm not sure if the sculptors cooked this up between them or if they just all randomly decided to do the same thing at the same time. Because there's Gertie's time machine that she made. And June's decided to go into the future. I hope she comes back safely. I don't often send Sims into the future or the past. That time machine was safely in Gertie's household inventory, but somebody pulled it out for some reason and put it there. June was learning how to play a new board game from a cyborg when Vu, the destroyer, showed up to eat the spaceship they were on. Luckily, June jumped back into the time stream before becoming lunch. After exploring the cybernetic jungle of Gaia 13, June was almost made chieftain of a tribe of neo-barbarians. Unfortunately, the time stream opened and June had to jet. I hope she gets back safely. She's gone. She's not in the panel again. She's vanished out of the panel of the left-hand side of the screen. And now Stan's getting into the time machine. Is he going into the future as well? This is a bit of a worry. The Illuminati of the 34th century discovered Stan's time-travelling power and almost kidnapped him before he escaped through the time stream. Who knows what those guys would have done with that kind of power? Well, there's Marge. At least she's still with us. She's playing with the group science project, developing her science skill. That's a good way to get to a really high science skill too. It takes up a lot of room. There's 4 levels in the basement are used up. A 10 by 10 square. But the Sims seem to like it, and at least it's keeping Marge in the household. She hasn't been called to the time machine yet. There must be something going on that is just drawing all of our sculptors away from Hidden Springs to somewhere in the future. There she is. What's she going to do next? Is she going to go into the... Yeah, she's going. She has been called as well. There must be some sort of preordained destination. Either they've cooked it up themselves and learned a way of controlling the time machine, or some greater power is pulling them all somewhere into the future. Hopefully they will eventually all meet up again somewhere, and that we will come across them again one day. We can only hope. It was so enlightening to sit in on a historical lecture on the evolution of fusion power. Marge took a bunch of notes, but when the time stream opened, they all blew away. Better luck next time. Marge spent a few uncomfortable hours in the brig of a galactic war cruiser for being a stowaway. Eventually she was able to reopen the time stream and to depart to a better time. Wonder what the cats are thinking of all this, with this time machine being so active and used for such a long time today. We're running out of sculptors. We've lost 2. There's third ones in the time machine. There's only 2 left. Marge helped stand up for miners' rights on Mars. Marge was almost arrested by Earth police, but found a convenient escape through the time stream before being interrogated. So Marge has left us, and now Maureen's going into the future. They seem to be quite happy. They obviously have some sort of a plan for them all to be doing it. There's only 1 left, so I'm assuming that Maureen isn't coming back. But she could surprise us. You never can tell with Sims. Maureen was browsing an old bookshop in 2473 when she saw a book written by someone she knew in the present. Who knew he would become an incredible author? Maureen attended an anti-gravity holographic rock concert. At first it was a little nauseating, but she got used to it and joined the floating, frolicking fans for a night to remember. Then suddenly Maureen was gone too, and Fred was getting into the time machine. He was the last sculptor left standing. If he vanishes as well, that'll be it. We'll have no more sculptors left in the household. Fred got picked up by some aliens while exploring a derelict space station, but they turned out to be alright, and even dropped Fred off at the next Federation outpost. Unfortunately, that was the last we heard from Fred, and he too was soon gone from the household in Hidden Springs. There was now only Gertie and her cats. And that's the end of the story. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode when we're introduced to Generation 1 of the McFluff story. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.